VisIVOServer is a suite of software tools for creating customized views of three-dimensional renderings from generic data tables. The main characteristic is that no fixed limits are given regarding the dimensionality of data tables input for processing, thus supporting very large scale data sets. VisIVO servers consist of three core components: VisIVO importer, VisIVO filter, and VisIVO viewer, respectively. To create customized views of three-dimensional renderings from generic data tables, a two-stage process is employed. First, VisIVO importer is used to convert user datasets into VisIVO binary tables, VBT. Then VisIVO viewer is called to display customized views of three-dimensional rendering. As an example, consider displaying views from only three columns of a generic data tables supplied in ASCII forms, say column 1, column 2, and column 3, by use the commands VisIVO importer --format ASCII --out vbt.bin user datasets.txt, that is the user ASCII files, and then the commands VisIVO viewer -x colon 1 -y colon 2 -z colon 3 vbt.bin. What is a VisIVO binary table? A VisIVO binary table is the data representation used by VisIVOServer internally. A VisIVO binary table is realized through an header file with the extension .bin.head containing all necessary metadata, and a raw data file with the extension .bin storing actual data values. For example, the header may contain information regarding the overall number of fields and number of points of each field for data point sets, or the number of cells and the relevant mesh size for volume datasets. The raw data file is typically a sequence of values, for example x followed by all y values, and so on. The header files contains the following fields. Float or table is the data type of the storage variables used. The first field in N1 is the number of columns, the fields, in a VisIVO binary tables. The number N2 is the number of the rows in a VisIVO binary tables. Geo X, Y, and Z, and the X, the Y, and the Z are employed only if the VisIVO binary tables represents a volumetric datasets. In this case, Geo X, Y, and Z and represents the mesh geometry, and the X, the Y, and the Z represents the X, Y, and Z size of volumetric cells. Little or big denotes the endianism employed in the VisIVO binary tables. And then after there are the names of the fields contained in the raw data. On the left there is an header table that contains data of volume with a mesh of 64 cell elements on each dimension and 3 values, volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3 for each element. On the right there is an header table that contains data points. 8 columns are given. Each columns are more than 7.8 million of elements. VisIVO importer converts user-supplied datasets into a VisIVO binary tables. The general VisIVO importer syntax is the following: VisIVO importers --flag 1, --flag 2, and so on, and the file name that contains the user datasets. The --, format specifies the format of the input datasets. --out specifies the name of the output VisIVO binary tables. --volume is optionally used to create a volume. --comp X, Y, and Z are used for entering the geometric or volumetric datasets. Minus minus size x, y, and z are used for specifying volumetric cell dimensions, and minus minus user pvd optionally is used to prescribe a username and password for accessing remote files. The file name is the local or a remote file containing the data to be converted into a VisIVO binary table. If the file name starts with HTTP or FTP or SGP, the remote file is downloaded automatically. However, if the minus minus user pvd option is specified, the prescribed username and password are employed for the remote access. VisIVO importer for ASCII and CSV format. CSV ASCII files are expected to be in tabular form. An ASCII file may contain values for n variables organized in columns. The columns are typically separated by white space characters, for example space or tabs. The first row of an ASCII file lists the n variables name explicitly. Then we can give the commands VisIVO importer -- format ASCII --out vbt.bin cluster fields.ascii. VisIVO importer operation is done, and the VisIVO importer operation will create the binary tables vbt.bin that contains the binary values and vbt.bin.hid that contain the metadata. The first field is the float, the numbers of columns 5, 200,000 data points, little endianism, and the names of columns. VisIVO importer for binary format. This command is useful for changing the endianism of a binary table. An input big endian table is transformed in a little endian table, and vice versa, and to change the binary format from table to float. VisIVO importer for VO table format. The VO table format is an XML standard for the interchange of data represented as a set of tables. In this context, a table is an unordered set of rows, each having a uniform format as specified in the table metadata information. This is a VO table downloaded with the data from Hipparcos catalog and contain the following data for 10 fields like row, magnitude, retroscension, declination, and so on. Now we can give the commands to transform the VO table in VisIVO binary tables. VisIVO importer -- format VO table -- out the name of the output VisIVO binary tables, and the input hipparcos.xml VO table file. The operation is done, and we create the vbt.bin and vbt.bin.hid. The vbt.bin.hid contains the values of 10 columns with 50,000 rows in little endianism, and the names of the columns are the same of the XML data file.